success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Then celebrate it with or without champagne.
We are live, Michelle. We are live. How are you doing? I see you in the studio, Michelle. So I see my two favorite Michelles are here. You can support me by sending stars. Stars getting me closer, one step closer to my dreams and goals. What are stars, Michelle? Come and tell us. Come to the studio. Come on, Michelle. So they have Michelle 1 and Michelle 2 in the studio, Michelle B and Michelle Ramos in the studio will give me joy. So Michelle, come along. I'm sure you got a link twice. I'll say, Michelle, I have got your emails. I got your emails. So the attachment is there. So we're doing well. So I'll look at it after our show. Dr. Tanya, welcome everyone to Being Your Authentic Self in Business. This is a room where I have the most joy. I love all the rooms I do, but this is my room, right? This is the one we started off with. Me and a mindset coach, Donna Martin, a good year and a half, two and a half years ago. When audio, 2.5 years ago now. When audio came in, this is the room we started off with. So, I love this room. And of course, what we talk about is my true passions. My passions being business growth primarily. That's what I like to discuss. That's what I like to talk about. That's what I like to help my friends with. Right, there's more people here than I can see on my StreamYard. Denise, welcome. So thank you for being here. Liana, I see you too. Sherilyn, thank you for being here.
I invited like everyone on my connection list.
You invite? Oh, Michelle, you're a star, Michelle. No, truly. I appreciate you more than you really, and that's. I'm touched. Seriously, I'm mega grateful. Really, I'm mega grateful.
No, we're grateful to you, Annie, for putting us out here with this technology so we can learn how to raise our beautiful youth.
You really are too kind. I mean that sincerely. Look, we'll talk later about the topic, and we'll talk later also about, your emails that you've sent me. I know you're working on a big project, so we'll bring it to the world soon enough. Liana, as I mentioned you, welcome. If I haven't mentioned you, I don't know who LinkedIn user is. Please put your name in the comments so I know it's you. I have no idea, not a clue who that person is. I could find out if I go to LinkedIn, but I'll try. Dr. Leslie, welcome. Say our mindset guru, mindset coach, goal achievement expert, and of course, super author as well. Super author of Irada. Irada 2 is coming out soon, I'm told. So glad you're here. And I say, of course, Dr. Leslie understands the topics that we'll talk about here. I say that because essentially, I think this room is based on helping businesses to grow. So what does that mean? You think we're going to talk about business topics only? See, what I learned very quickly is that business growth, everything we do really comes down to almost 2% business skills, technical stuff, and 98% mindset. That's where Dr. Leslie Flowers comes into it for sure. It's our mindset is everything.
Yes, Leslie Flowers can definitely show you the love.
She really can. So like I said, our topics, they are mindset based, but it's not. I'm being very careful and intentional here. I'm not a mindset coach. I have no intention of being a mindset coach. I'm a business marketing person. So I spoke to someone this afternoon, and they said to me, okay, I know what you do because we're friends. Me and this person are friends, right? And we actually know we've met. And she goes, we're friends. I'm like, yeah, we are. And I said to her, right, just make sure you let me publish your book. And she's like, you publish books? I didn't. I'm saying, what? Right. My friends, let's be clear what any does, right? I do two things in life, really. I do two things. I do a few more things besides, but the two important things that I really do, thing I do all my day doing is helping people to write, publish, and sell their books. And a part of my service is a part of the marketing service is helping you to launch your books. And part of my goal there, my biggest goal in helping you launch your books is that I want to make your book a bestseller on Amazon. That's what Any does. And Any mixes that service with events like this. So your book launch is going to be a virtual book launch. Right. So now it's those two things I do. Events linked to very often your book that we publish or help you write. So if you want to publish a book, come to me. Come to me. I want to publish a book. I have big goals for the number of books I want to publish, and we're making progress. Of course, we're making progress towards those goals. And I think I've got 3 books to come out very soon. Not written by me, written by my author friends. So Joni, come on stage. Of course, I want you to come on stage. I've sent you the link, Joni. You got the backstage link. So come on stage. Let's talk about emotions. I'll get to that in a second.
We love you, Joni. You gotta come on stage. You make me smile. I love you. You're just
and
you're so cool.
Joni, stop talking about yourself in first person publisher. No, Joni, it's not frustration. I was just taken aback when someone said to me that they actually don't know I publish books. I'm like, what do you think I do then? So no, it's a silly question. But I want everyone to be very clear. If you're writing a book, I can help you write the book. Not me personally. I got a team. Got a team of writers, ghostwriters, writing coaches who help you write your book. I've got editors who help you edit your book. And then I've got me who will help you do the layout and publishing of your book. That's my bit. The bestseller campaign is my bit too. I'll help you organize events around your book. That way you launch your book with a few sales and then everything starts, right? Everything starts from there. I feel bad because I don't know who. Okay, I feel bad. I don't know who the LinkedIn user is. There's Joni say, "Oh, Christiana, you're here." Christiana says, "Hello, Michelle." Is Christiana the LinkedIn user? Yeah, I think so. Excellent.
Hello,
Mia,
Christiana. Hello.
Mia, thank you for being here. I don't think we have met. Let me. I want to go for everyone. Make sure. Carla, welcome as well. Thank you so much for being here. Again, I don't think we've met. Corinne, long time. Welcome. Corinne has a set of words that thinking, I think, is what she doesn't like. That's what she works against, which is good. It's a good thing, right? Of course, Dr. Leslie, of course. Yeah, a pleasure to give credit where it's due. Linda, welcome as well. I imagine you might be at work, so.
Oh, Linda, we love you, Linda.
Welcome. How are you doing, Dr. Leslie? Glad you're here. We'll see you.
Great.
Christiana is not feeling well, but she's here. Yeah, Yolanda, welcome. Our breast cancer camp, so fundraising lady. That's what Yolanda does. She's talk about the Pink Lemonade Challenge that she runs. I'm glad you're here. Have I missed anyone? Oh, Lisa, my favorite friend, my favorite Lisa. My favorite friend in the whole wide world. Lisa, I'm glad you're here.
Hello, Lisa.
Have I missed anyone? Okay, I think I'm good for now. Of course I remember. Of course I remember Corinne. Of course I remember. My memory is going, but I'll try and get better, right? I try and get better. Yeah, I do try. Look, my friends, so we'll talk about what I do. So our topic for these rooms are how to grow your business, and it's based on what I've learned from the experts like Dr. Leslie. It really is. So I don't talk as the expert at all on topics that I talk about in this room. Strange that. What I'm trying to do is share with you what I've learned. So I may well get some of the wording a bit, mixed up, but that's not my intention. That's just me explaining things badly. But I'll do my best to explain, to tell you what I've learned. Now, let's talk about today's topic. Today's topic is a pretty, it's an important one. I learned, this one I think I've learned the 12 key areas of mindset. And I think, okay, you got this. You're living a happier life, you are doing better in business, and you feel happier, more successful, everything's working well. See, I find out that there's more things I need to learn. So I read a book recently, How to Manage Your Emotions, and I guess build social skills. That's pretty much what the book's called, what the book's about. Then I realized, right, this is another important area in my mindset arsenal, my mindset tools. Now, it's not rocket science, my friends. A lot of people are brought down by their emotions. We're destroyed by our emotions because we can't control them. We need to learn how to control our emotions. We need to learn how to manage our emotions. Something called emotional intelligence. See, when we master our emotions, when we stop flipping out, when we stop reacting, when we stop negative emotions, we are able to connect with people. We can talk to people. We just talk and communicate with people in different mediums. And we essentially win more in every area of life. Think of that for a second. See, this is where I'm coming from today. Now, so when we understand emotional intelligence, our personal life improves, our professional life improves. To give you a simple example, so, before I started mindset learning, before I got a mindset coach, in other words, I was a happy person, I thought. I was happy. Most days I was happy. Some things would go well, some things would go wrong, but deep down, I could get very angry. I could get disappointed. I could be fearful. I could not really. So the simplest things would scare the hell out of me. So I'm meeting someone, or there's a potential customer or something, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's gonna go wrong. They're not gonna buy. They're gonna say no, and it'll be a waste of my time. Oh, even if they do say yes, they're gonna be a terrible customer. I'm not gonna like them. My work with them is not gonna work. And it's like torturing yourself. I was talking about this in recent weeks, right? We love a worry. We love anxiety. I was that person. If you said to me, stand up and talk, 3 years ago, our events have been going for 2.5 years now, and they're going on 3 years. If you just said to me 3 years ago, before I started this room, stand up and talk to people, I would say to you, no, I can't. I just can't. I'm too scared. I'm too nervous. I might get it wrong, and everything would just go wrong. Who wants to listen to me anyway? Who cares, right? Yeah. I lived on the edge of emotions always, every day. Of course, with that, I've got kids, I've got a wife, and I could just flip out. Something that annoyed me, I would explode, as you do, right? You've annoyed me. And so life went. Sometimes I won, sometimes I lost. It took me a long time to realize my emotions are a problem. Now today, I'm getting better. There's a reason I'm telling you all this, my friends. Emotional intelligence is not about being perfect. We'll still get angry. We'll still get annoyed, upset by people. Of course we will. Disappointed, yes. Sad, frustrated. Alas, we can learn how to manage our emotions, to find that place of zen, as my friend Scott calls it. That place where you are able to deal with situations calmly, able to rationalize and understand what's happening, what you're feeling. So Annie doesn't get angry these days. Annie, no, it takes a lot of work to get Annie angry. Trust me, really. I'm saying a lot of people will do stuff, and yes, I look at it and I go, you know what? Okay, and I guess I'm going to get to the end of today, and I'm going to say these words to you. So I've learned to work out what is in my sphere of interest. So what are things that come across my path, and what's in my sphere of influence. Unless it's my sphere of influence, I'm quite apt to let it go, deal with it, and say, right, it's not important. That's just part of my response. Your response might be, I need to have a conversation with someone about this. I'm saying, there are different ways that we find that place of peace in our souls. But find that peace, we have to. Yolanda, I hear your entire, I hear you totally. This is not a one and done thing. This is it's a lifelong challenge, And I think, Yolanda, the point is this: managing our emotions. We're not born with the skill to manage our emotions. Let's face it, right? A lot of people think, those happy people are, or they were born that way. They weren't. They really weren't. Think of a baby. A baby, when a baby's hungry, the baby's gonna cry, right? The baby doesn't think, oh, mom's busy. She can't feed me right now. So I'll just wait. No, the baby goes hysterical. They have essentially a meltdown. And through childhood, this is what happens. I'm saying we're not born with the ability or with the control of our emotions that we need to have. Alas, that's a way of saying it's a skill. It's a skill. It's a skill we have to learn. And when we learn that skill, we are happier. Jay, welcome. I see you. Emotional maturity and intelligence can help to manage adversity, for sure. We need to learn how to manage our emotions, because suddenly the things that look terrible, disasters, and the worst things on earth that have ever happened to us. Why this is why I'm so angry. No, it's not that important. We have to deal with these things. We learn to deal with things calmly, with intention, and that gives us more happiness, better results. Self-control, you say, of course. Now, look, there's five elements to emotional intelligence that I want to cover. Then I realized, as I was making my notes, that I can't cover all of them fairly in one day. All right. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to cover the first part. And so let's talk about the first part of emotional intelligence. So we'll talk about self-regulation, self-control, which is number 2. So that will be in 2 weeks' time, right? Today, we're going to talk about self-awareness, because you can't manage your emotions. You can't do step 2, step 3, which is essentially going on to actually do something and do things in the right emotional state, right? That's number 3. Number 4, we have to understand other people, empathize with them, actually, because if I understand myself, I can begin to think, how do I respond to Michelle? How do I deal with how's Michelle really feeling, and what can I do to take advantage of that, or make Michelle feel better, or make Michelle happier? See, all of that, I say that deliberately, because all of that means if I can understand other people, then I can form better relationships. I'll come to that in good time, my friends. But I will talk about step 2 to 5 in the upcoming weeks. So let's talk about self-awareness. That's the main thing today. Michael, I see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dr. Monica, thanks for being here as well. Amolia, if you haven't been to Amolia's audio leaders, the audio leadership club, then do connect with her. Go to the comments, and for sure, go along to our program. I know we're still grieving the loss of audio, but we have to move forward, and Amolia is one of those who can definitely help. So I love anyone who is supporting our community, to make that leap from audio to where we are today, in terms of live streams. If you're here, my friends, leave us a comment. Leave us a comment. Otherwise, I will know you're here. Michael loves visiting Planet Any. Thank you, Michael. I love you being here as well. Planet Any, that's a funny place, isn't it? Dr. Marcia, our Christian leadership coach, I'm glad you're here as well. Thank you so much for being here. Christy, I see you. Oh, I love all of you, really. Again, look, there was a time when I would be, what am I looking for? I will be on shore, right? My event's about to start. I think, who is going to turn up? No one's going to turn up. Right? No one's going to turn up, right? What if no one turns up? Right. Again, so I appreciate all of you. I said, now I've learned to just relax into myself. If I do the work, you will come. And I do a lot of work that people don't see. Actually, Joni, you know this. Michelle, you know this. Dr. Leslie, you know what I do. These are some of the things I do in the background, right? So with that, you turn up, and I truly appreciate all of you. I really mean that. So one part of
I
emotional
love
intelligence.
all of
I'll come to you next, Michelle. The last part is social skills. We need to learn how to interact with people. In our world, that comes under social skills. And so again, that's a big topic in itself. So that conversation will come in a good few weeks' time from now, right? We're here every 2 weeks, so we'll talk about the emotional intelligence probably for the next month. Yeah, I'm excited. We'll just share it. So, can you put your camera on? The person next to you is highly distracting with all of the fidgeting. No. Look, Michelle B, the one that fidgets a lot, she's blind and deaf, so she's signing essentially. It might be her own sign language, but that's a thing, right? So don't be distracted. Can you put your camera? I could put the camera. I could put the camera on me if I wanted to. If I want to, okay. So let me go into the formats that I can do. How's that, Sherilyn? That's you see a bit more of the speaker. Of course, I don't like to see me too often, right? I like to see my speakers instead. Okay, so let me speak now. Let's speak to my speakers who are here. Let's see what your thoughts are, my friends. Michelle, let's talk to you. What's your take on emotional intelligence?
actually yesterday, his name was, I believe, of AVOL, Evol. I can't pronounce it
What?
right,
What?
but
What? Hold on, that woman, Alavine, that one.
he,
Yes,
he
no.
was he was here speaking. He had the four boys, and we were talking about AI.
Okay. Oh, okay. I know who you mean. Oh, Alan.
Yes, he actually, when he said some things, I I radiate more with kids, and so AI and actually life has scared me since I've come back out. And when he said to he told his kids just to go find something on the AI and then bring it to him, they'd work from there. And I did that last night, and it really clicked with me. And to tell you the truth, I knew would honestly finish my project. I was just very scared of it. And so, yes, I learned that. And now I need to learn how to, like you said, control my actions, control myself. I would say around adults, I've always done fine dining, but it was pretty much told what you're having. And it's a pretty simple thing with fine dining. So right now, yes, as you can see, I'm very calm right now, and it's because I did learn this technique last night because of the AI. And here I am to learn from the rest of you beautiful souls.
Annie, are you there? Or I can't hear. Michelle.
My bad. Thank you so much. I forgot. I forgot I was muted. Truly,
No,
thank you so much for this.
no
I
problem.
forgot, and I was on a different tab as well. Right, Michelle, are you one to get excitable? Do you react? Do you fly off the handle when things go wrong? Do you
Oh,
go
yeah.
very high when things go right?
With my sensory issues and everything, people like me, um, when people,
We lost you for a second. Your
oh,
screen froze for a second. So you got as
oh,
far as saying
hey,
people like me, and then so
yeah,
just take it from there.
when someone radiates and screams at me, automatically, just because of my sensory issues and my definitely with what I've been through, my fight or flight mode, and I'm not going to say I don't know a youth out there that doesn't have ADD and autism to where when you bring force and anxiety to them, that they don't answer back with force and anxiety. And we don't really change. We grow up. Yes, we learn tools, obviously, to deal with it, I guess you can say. But we know where our boundaries are and when we can and go in and out. But if a youth doesn't, like, sometimes I didn't know my boundaries where I could go in and out. And I was put in my place a lot on Lidocaine. And that's pretty cool. I didn't take it as a bad thing. It's how people expressed it. But yes, with people like me, we judge ourselves worse than anyone else. Imagine having sensory issues. We judge ourselves twice as much, but we also radiate that much love back to the person that's radiating the anxiety and hate to us, just wanting to hold them and say, I love you. What's wrong? Communicate with me. We'll get through this. And that's the way we're wired. And that's okay. I mean, I do need to learn a lot of things. And I'm all right with that too, because life is about learning. But yes, working with neurodivergent people, I would say definitely our empathy is huge. We'll save the world. But if someone yells at us, boy, we're like, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. What can I do? Can I bathe your feet or anything? And until that person actually says, yes, go ahead and bathe my feet, and I do it, I feel like I have really hurt someone so bad that I like disconnect from them and run. And that's just how we are, I
Yeah,
guess.
no, I understand. I love your empathy to the next level. I do love that. I really do. It's. I guess the thing is, our emotions can either lead us to do things that are bad for us or things that are good for us. I think the whole point of my conversation, as Dr. Marcia says, triggers. That's a book I read, a few years now.
Oh
Marsha
yeah.
Goldsmith. I read that book, and I learned that. So that's probably where my journey into emotional intelligence started. I didn't put the
Oh
words
yeah.
together in that sense. I just realized I was carrying other people's rubbish on my, in my rucksack and my shoulders. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we need to learn what helps us, how to respond in a way that helps us, and how to not to respond in a way that hurts us. That's a conversation about emotional intelligence, really, right?
Yes, like when I get hurt, instead of hurting myself, I'll run in the sand for like hours. I'll make myself get on a balance board for hours. And actually, that's how I've been able to do my rehabilitation. Um, I'll ruin a relationship because they yell at me all the and it's just we don't. It's been so taboo, I think, in society about they're too empathetic or they're just too touchy or they're just always looking and everything. We've made it so taboo that people like me, we get so overwhelmed that someone actually does want to be our friend because we don't know how to act because we never learned it in school, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect
And
sense. It is part of the struggle, right?
yeah, and so we become recluse, but we are really good on the internet. And I would say that's if you don't teach your youth how to be nice, make friends, plays nice, 50-50, when they get older, they don't know how to do it either. And since I grew up the way I did, and everyone has always said, "Oh, that's just horrible," but when it's all you've ever known, it wasn't that horrible to me. I made the library my gym. I lived out in the country and I rode this beautiful Arabian horse, and everyone thought it was like this $150,000 horse. It wasn't. We got it from my grandma's church. And I really connected with my horses, and because I just didn't have friends. So when I would work at my fine dining restaurant, I would put on a mask. And what was really hard is while I was going through some things, I was watching around and I was learning. I would say for about a year, I was watching the fine dining restaurant and I saw other kids struggling with what I was struggling with being adult. They didn't know how to connect with their parents while they were sitting there just having dinner, and I was just like, wow, it's learned behavior. And I had to take that home at the time. And really, this is what I did and look in the mirror and say, you're doing that to your own kids. And so that's when I started doing more things. But then you're still met with the taboo of she's on drugs or something like that. And I will, you know what my first problem was, is I said, yes, I was on drugs, but they're prescription. I mean, I do have a neuro team. Um, but that was me being trying to break the ice. They're like, oh, you're just all quirky or you're on drugs or something. It's like, yeah. And, I do stupid things like that. And so now I've got to learn how to adapt to certain situations because everyone is just learning about different disabilities, and they haven't there's just a huge stigma, and I can understand it. And I think we can break it right here, and that's what we're doing, and that's all I know right
It's
now.
it's a great way to look at the situation, really. We're all learning. We're all trying to get better every day. I hope we are. I am for sure, right? I try. So we'll try and find our peace and our humanity in every situation. So I will bear in mind Mia's comment that no one should yell at anyone. No one should yell at me. I have no, I can't raise my voice these days. Thank goodness. I never have been able to raise my voice. But someone yelling at you because of your sensitivity, someone yelling at you because of your characteristics is just wrong. But
And it is.
I think that we need to work out who we are and what truly ticks us off.
I can remember, folks, one time I wanted to try out for the basketball team because, of course, I'm left-handed and dyslexia. It was pretty funny. I mean, at least everyone got a good laugh. I know I did. Couple knee bruises. Um, but I remember the first time I got suited up. I was so excited, and I got to run out there with everyone, even though I knew everyone was still kind of dumb, trying to play, and I could only, since I was left-handed, shoot a certain way, and I could only go up a certain way on a layup. And I remember walking in, and I remember they turned around, they looked at me, and they said, "Oh yeah, your parents aren't here." And I looked at the two kids, and I thought, these were the two kids I was hoping to try to impress,
Mm.
so I could start going to like the local little dances that they would put on for the
Mm.
kids and everything that were having their birthdays, because I wasn't allowed to go. And they said, "Oh, that's right. You don't have parents." "Oh, yeah, your old grandma's here and she can't even get up the bleachers." And my grandma was actually, I looked out the door and my grandma was across the basketball court. And she was actually having someone help her up the bleachers.
Mm.
And I started crying and I didn't go out. And my grandma came into the locker room, and mind you, she's not my biological grandma. All right, I called her grandma. She was not, yeah, there was no blood there, but I remember she came in there and she asked me, she goes, "Are you embarrassed of me? Is that why you didn't come out?" And I told her what the kids had said.
Mm.
And she was from Germany, and they had migrated over here, and which was really cool. So she knew what it felt to be an outcast. And she was just like, "It's okay, let's go do something else." And at least she would
Mm.
always take me to go do something else. It was usually an ice cream. And then take me home, though. And honestly, she tried putting me in 4 different schools, and I finally ended up in my private school at Tahoe Academy. Yeah. um but honestly, back then, even though I was diagnosed with ADD, autism, dyslexia, and I was
Mm.
going to special ed, everybody in the school, including the teachers, alienated me. So I
Mm.
never got that interaction growing up on how to go through the stages of being a child to a toddler, to a
Mm.
preteen to a teen. And that's
Mm.
very important for our youth, because if they
Yeah,
don't get all that, they're not going to know how to be adults. And
for sure.
we need to show them and let them go through each
Mm.
step. And that's one thing I didn't get to do. I mean, I went from toddler being carrying flowers to the queens in beauty pageants, being little Miss Bicentennial, to being, she's weird, we need to get rid of her.
Mm.
And I missed out on so much, and we can't do that to our kids. Maybe I'm okay, but I
Mm.
actually really had to take responsibility for myself and want to be okay and have the will to have the adventure out there, because I wanted everyone to feel love. Not
Yeah.
every child is like that, and we're seeing that now, you guys. Let's give them what
Yeah.
they need.
Yeah, look, it's a two-way street. Of course, again, Mia, I agree with you. Hopefully, it's not Maya. It could be Maya, it could be Mia. So I don't know which one, right? Sensitive people have been catering to people who have violent reactions for a long time. Just rude, rude, aggressive, just rude, insensitive. We cater for a lot of different people. You certainly sound like you have, Michelle. Of course you have. And we shouldn't have to keep doing that forever, right? Look,
No, and
look.
everyone has done it. I think we
Hmm.
honestly forgot how to be humans, like in the 60s or 70s. I'm not saying no women's live. I'm saying we lost respect of ourselves.
Hmm.
So we didn't know how to have respect for our jobs. We didn't know how to have respect for our homes that we were allowed to live in. We didn't know how to have respect for the people that lived in the house, because we just, for some reason, we lost that, and that's okay. Let's just bring it back.
No, it's literally like we lost our minds, Michelle. No, let me go to Dr. Leslie, because I'd love to hear our thoughts, and I'll come back to us in good time, right? Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you. It's really valuable input. Now, Margaret, Superwoman, glad you're here. If you haven't been to Margaret's rooms, do go along. She does her jam. I'm glad they're back on LinkedIn, so that excites me. So I joined the last one, so it's not just that they're back on LinkedIn. Is that this you can stream from anywhere to anywhere, right, Margaret? Glad you're here. Thank you. Nice. Margaret's one of my co-authors, my anthology that you see behind me. That book over there, yeah, that one over there. Lessons we learned from COVID. You must go and read her chapter, my friends. You truly must.
Margaret does the economics, right?
Margaret does many things. She's a public speaker, so she talks positivity. She does rooms like this, and she hosts events, and she hosts events, in person as well. So she doesn't connect with her, Michelle. That's the answer, right? Connect with her. Her jam music room is worth going to for sure. Now, Margaret, I'm trying. I don't know what the comment is. Let me see. Thank you for your kind mention. Yes, truly. Look, connect. And it's a good practice. When you after the event, go to the comments. Go to the events page and comment. But more importantly, find other people who commented, and then respond to the comments. If you feel like it, and then connect with people there. Now, right click, and go to a profile and connect with them. That wants to resonate with you anyway. So thank you so much, my friends. Okay, let's move forward. Dr. Leslie, I'm back to you. I'll stop talking now. Now, what's your take? What's your take on the issue? What's your take on emotional intelligence?
Well, hey everybody. I have to say that I am glad to see that some of the friends from other platforms are remembering us. I've just missed everybody so much with the transition. So I don't know how much I could add to what you said, because I mean, you've really got it. You really have got what's going on. I could offer a couple of things, but what I heard the most from you was the same thing I experienced. The emotions are reactive and they're not thinking, and they're strong, and they're based on fear, and our fears are real because they really happened. And it's through remembering those fears throughout our lives that deeply embeds them as a belief. And they're strong. So the battle, it's the proverbial battle between the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious mind thinks, but it's not as strong or practiced. So what we're talking about here is to make, you're always aspiring to be better, to listen to others. You're aspiring to be the best person that you can be. But there are so many thoughts. So when you get a new idea, what happens is, if you've never done it before, the immediate reaction is, well, you haven't done that. And then if you've done it before and you failed at it, but you'd like to try it again, the immediate reaction that comes up, that your conscious mind, you aren't even thinking. Just like when Annie said that he immediately said, I'm not going to speak. Like, so that is from an experience that he had, where, like we all have, where he may have been humiliated because he did it wrong. Well, we've all had that. So this work and managing emotions, such a good conversation. I'm really, really happy to be here and to be part of it. Is really your aspiration to be able to catch, first notice, that, oh, I'm getting triggered. And then having the wherewithal, the strategic thought to say, okay, that's not really where I want to go. I don't want to say this. But it's not easy to do, to catch. It's like catch and switch, right? First, you catch yourself do it. Then you immediately have to think the opposite. So you're going from negative to fear to faith or the positive. And only one of those thoughts is going to prevail. The more times you do this, you've actually built the muscle. That's what emotional intelligence is. It's like muscle. And the more you practice it, the quicker you are catching these things. And you pointed to one thing that's really important. It's an evolution. So years ago, I could be mad like at my husband for days, right? So what am I thinking? I'm triggered, I'm angry. It's one of my fears. Is it loss of love? Is it not enough money? Is it being criticized? Is it, am I going to get sick? Is it, I'm getting old, or am I going to die? Those are all of our fears. And they come up at different times in our lives. Now, the key is, as you do this and you catch, what Annie did is you spend, and you implied, Annie, that the amount of time is diminishing that you spend in the negative. And so the more that we do it, the better it gets. So this is the process. You can't do it overnight. Right? This is like, and he said, it is a process. It's how you live your life. And I'll tell you one thing about, if it's okay, um, about being yelled at and where that comes from. So my father, we get this from our parents. Bullies raise bullies. For the most part, that's who your model was. That's how you learn to relate. And then you get out in the world and you learn that there are different ways of relating and learning. Anyway, my father was a yeller. He was deaf or partially deaf. And the hearing technology back then wasn't great. But he would yell. Okay, so his natural way, because he couldn't hear, he yelled. That was just kind of how it was. And not just for him, for most people that were hard of hearing. That's what he was. They called it hard of hearing. Now, he would beat us. Now, I'm not saying terrible, terrible, terrible beatings, but, corporal punishment was part of our lives. But mostly it was the yelling. Well, in 2008, when I went to be certified with Bob Proctor and learn all of that technology, one of the guest speakers was Curtis Sliwa. Now, Curtis Sliwa was the guy in New York who began the guardian angels. Now, if you remember, they would wear, I bet Joni knows about this, they would wear a red kind of French tam. And at the first of the month, they would go out in the street to protect people that just got their check, Social Security checks, because they were thugs. Well, at first, the guardian angels were not appreciated at all by the police, but before long, they actually collaborated to protect people on the street. Well, anyway, he was this very loud New Yorker kind of guy, and we were in this training room with about 500 people in a big ballroom, and my table happened to be about 15, 20 feet from where the podium was, and he gets up on the stage and he's introduced. And oh my God, all of a sudden, he started yelling, and da 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 da, and da 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 da, and there was no breath in between, and it was loud, and it was like it enveloped me, and I started to shrink. I felt myself shrinking into the little girl. Everything got quiet around me, and I could feel it happening. I wasn't really sure what was happening, but I knew something was happening. And in about 3 minutes, I was able to come out of it, and I realized it was my father yelling at me. This is the trigger, the belief that you can't do it right, that you've been criticized, and it is powerful. So all I can tell you is we all have these triggers and they're embedded. The only thing I know to do is the process that I've been doing for 16 years and that I've developed, which is to do things that you've never done before or that you've failed at. Complete them, and you have then disproven the failure that is real and that has been running our lives. It sounds easy, it just takes time. So do something that you've never done. You should be afraid. In fact, you're so in love with it, you don't care about the fear. That is the thing to do to kind of break that fear up that we've been carrying, that we'll be criticized, that we did it wrong, that we were humiliated. Those are real. So I'm going to thank you for letting me speak and be quiet now.
Thank you. I mean that sincerely. Thank you. You shared a lot of insights for us to learn from, and you saved me saying a lot of things. I guess, you tackled many things for us. You're right. My humiliation, my phobia of public speaking, it came from my uni days. You can go through education these days. Uni, middle school, high school, uni. I went to 2 unis, degree, masters, and I didn't have to speak in public. Of course, there's presentations. So you have to do presentations, right? So I remember it clearly, Dr. Leslie. I remember it was presentations. I would do what I do now. I would make notes. I would have my presentation sorted. I have slides. I would be ready. And then there comes that moment where everyone's doing their thing. Everyone's doing a presentation, right? So you eventually it's going to be my turn. The floor is yours. And I would get the worst stage fright. My legs would go to jelly. My eyes would stop seeing. My notes were blank. I couldn't believe it. My notes were blank. When I tried to talk, I had no voice. I was shaking, sweating. I was like, damn, I hate this. I really hate this. And that's where the phobia started.
Let me give you a little bit of insight on that, because this is really deep. And I think it's important and it's really clear right now for everyone that's listening. Mostly this happens when we're younger. And what we tell ourselves the first time we've been humiliated is that we'll never do it again. It's the biggest fear. It's part of fear of criticism, but it's the number one fear that we all have, to the point that what we think affects us physically. There are people that get sick and throw up. And to your point, that's exactly what was happening to you. You had a complete physical negative reaction, right? You didn't think about it. It happened out of fear. So, how did you counteract that and become a wonderfully fluid facilitator in these rooms, a master of mindset yourself? I've watched you listen to everybody for the last couple of years, and I've come to respect you in a whole new way. You have a special way of explaining all this. But now you know that it was the practice. It was stepping through your fear and doing this over and over and over again until you proved to yourself and disproved that fear. It was no longer true. So you actually created belief in your ability and your deservability, and you now have perfect faith in yourself, as much faith, Annie, if not more, than the faith you had in your failure, in your humiliation. So I'll leave it there, but this juice.
You have important points, Dr. Leslie. Seriously, that's why I'm, interjecting while you're still here. In other words, right? I made a choice when I realized I had to do something, right? So in my last job, I worked in a charity. I was a manager all the way through, and then got to the top of the charity. But I could still hide behind my fear because I could use my clients, my kids, because that's in a kids charity. My weapon was my children. The children we worked with, I had to give them a bigger voice than me. That was my excuse to myself, right? If I let them speak, they'll listen to them. If I try and speak, they won't listen to me. So I was like, oh, I'm never going to speak. I let the kids speak all the time. I will train the kids, empower them, practice with them, and give them the power to speak, right? But eventually, when it came to LinkedIn, I haven't spent years doing LinkedIn for my clients. When LinkedIn suddenly said, we don't like you doing section connect, pitch slapping, you might call it, right? I had a choice. Do I leave LinkedIn? Yes, I will leave LinkedIn. That's my solution. I'm going to go and do email because what can I do, right? And I saw audio. Audio was coming in if it was being tested, beta testing, they call it, right? And I thought, that might just save my business. If I can do what I'm doing now, get my friends and clients in front of a group of people, let them talk. So I'm still hiding behind my clients, so to speak, right? Let them talk. Let them do their thing. How can they engage the audience? Maybe. They're going to get clients? Maybe. So I thought, let me try it. Now, this is why I mentioned Donna quite a lot, because she's the first one that came along and said, okay, let's do it. I'm like, let's do it then. There were 4 of us, by the way.
You've gotten masterful. You've actually become quite masterful. It's just been a real joy because I'll tell you, sometimes I'm a pain in the neck, right? Because Annie and I have kind of
You're a
a,
lovely
and
pain in the neck. It's all right.
thank you, thank you. But I am very straightforward. I don't
Mm,
mean it meanly, but I'm very straightforward, and
mm,
Annie is very patient with me. And it only takes me about 10 or 15 minutes to realize that I've stuck my foot in it, and to
mm.
reach back out to him and clean it up. And
Yeah.
he's so gracious about it, right? He doesn't wrangle with me, and it's just been a pleasure, Annie. Thanks. And this is a great conversation. Great conversation.
They said, look, the reason it comes from that. I said, I've learned from what you said, repetition. My first audio rooms, I was shaking. I was nervous as hell. But the more I've done the audio rooms, the more I did those, the more confident I became. Now it's not strange. I can understand many of my clients. They are freaked out by the thought of going on stage and talking, being co-host. They're like, no. I'm like, you can do it. I've done it. I'll hold your hand. But I think you have a point, Dr. Leslie, where people have to make it. I think we have to make a choice. Do I want to change? Do I want this more than the fear? And then there's the other part, which I think is very important. Self-awareness. Where is this fear coming from? Where is my reaction? What's the trigger that's making me react like this? And it could be anything. It's very personal to all of us, right? Sometimes it's just a hint, the way someone speaks. That's whether that's in the office, whether it's online. I'm saying, but the way someone looks, the way they sound, might just be, like you mentioned it, people who shout, for example. I'm saying that could be a trigger. We need to learn what those triggers are. Otherwise, we're never going to move forward. We need to know. God, please.
I got to share something fun with you about that very point about people that sound like someone else. So when I did my masterminds for years, for face to face on Thinking Grow Rich, I never had any guests in, but someone had it in their office every week, and they asked me, could they bring in a guest for the first week to kind of see what it was all about, and I'd never done that. So we went through the first night, and when I came back the next week, I said, well, how did your friend enjoy it? He said, oh, Leslie, he said you reminded him of his mother-in-law, and he didn't like it. So to your point, sometimes, and this has happened to me, if someone sounds like my dad or my mom, and mostly in their most critical kind of authoritarian way, if somebody sounds that way, I have a bit of a trigger there, right? And that's where that fear of screwing up outweighs my strategic thinking. So I think that nobody ever really arrives at perfection, that it is an aspiration to practice this stuff as much as you can when you think about it, and give yourself be a break, because I am a work in progress. I promise you, I make a ton of mistakes, but they're fewer and fewer, and I clean it up right away as best I can. So when I see that I've reacted and maybe been angry or sharp tongued, then I will go to the person typically and apologize. But it's already my nature to be straightforward. That's my sign. So, I mean, I'm not the nurturer, I'm very straightforward. It's when I get upset that that straightforwardness kind of is colored with the fear, if you can imagine. So it doesn't come out from the heart alone. It seems to be blended or mixed with the fear. And so it's all this distinction of what's actually happening here, because when we can kind of figure it out, I think that we're more clear and we're ready to be willing to do this work. So thank you very much. And thank you everyone for being patient as we spoke.
Thank you so much. There's a lot to learn. I love the catch and switch, mentality, and that is what we all have to do. So there's one thing you won't catch me doing. That's giving people the finger when I'm driving. I don't do it. It's not I have no energy. I just don't find the point of it. There's other situations where we'll have to catch ourselves to this. We'll have to catch ourselves. And the more we pay attention to ourselves, what is inside me? What am I doing? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? Where's it come from? Does it align with what I really want to happen? And maybe the ultimate I'll say to today is we need to find our peace. That place of, I'm not going to be triggered, but the people will trigger you. They will do every day, right? And then we have to make a choice. Do I respond or do I react? Don't be responding. It's a waste of your time. I promise you. Learn to choose. That's what I learned, Dr. Leslie, to choose how I respond. I really get excited, but I really get excited. As Michelle earlier, you get excited. And I don't get overly excited. I'm pretty intentional. I try to be. But it's a work in progress, Dr. Leslie. And the only reason I'm here is because I listen to people like you. I mean that sincerely. We can all do that. We can all do that. We can all do that for ourselves. When we learn to truly look within, understand where we're coming from, then we can begin to take the next step, which is how do we manage how we respond? That's next week's conversation, managing how we respond. Today it's all about how do we get to know ourselves. How do we get to know, what we're feeling, why we're feeling that way? Dr. Leslie giving us a good view. We can literally just pay attention. Paulette will tell you when something happens, breathe. Don't say anything, just breathe. Now, 3 or 4 seconds, suddenly you find that the trigger lessens. Now you can respond the way you want to respond. It's not easy though. It's a learning process, and we're all still learning. Thank you so much, Dr. Leslie. I really appreciate you. So let's talk to. Thank you, Joni. It's your turn. You're on stage. The light is on you. How are you doing?
Wait, can I just say something real quick?
Yeah, please.
Leslie Flowers, I just connected the hearing. I honestly, I really can't see that well yet. Thank you. You amaze me in ways I can't. You inspire me, woman, and that's all I can say. I love you, and I work towards being a lot like you, believe it or not. And so, thank you.
Thank you. And I will tell you, I'm a bit broken, and I think we're all actually on the spectrum somewhere. And I think that, we slide on the spectrum, and some people, but I think that the more on the spectrum you are, the more genius you
Yeah.
are. And so anyway, thank you for that, dear.
No,
Thank,
no,
no,
thank you. I see a comment by Mia who says sensitive people, have been catering. I read this earlier, right? So it's not our fault that people will try to be rude and try to be disrespectful and try to trigger us. They're doing themselves. They're doing them. And when I say you do you, but Michelle, you don't, no one deserves to make you feel bad. I'm sure someone said in a comment somewhere, right? So Michelle too. You're amazing, and you don't lose respect. If people don't respect you in the first place, they'll behave in a disrespectful way. So when they do,
Joe,
you respond the way you do.
I do, and I have a really weird way. And I'm going to be honest, Joe, I radiate off of you. Thank you. You make me laugh. You make me feel human. Um, because
Uh,
why you're a single mom and you get it. You're just like, I really like to date, but I got these three potatoes over here that just keep flinging chips at everyone that's walking in. And then, they got dumping paint on them. You just never have time. Michelle won. She is just, she amazes me. Leslie Flowers, she has taught me I can love. I know finally I can love. For the longest time, I don't know. I'm like, I'm 53 and I finally found out I can love. But I did that because of you, Leslie Flowers. Any, I've been a silent warrior for so long. Just like the Wizard of Oz, hiding behind the curtain like you do. That's why I like the green behind you. And actually, that's what attracted me to your site since I'm blind, and also the COVID stuff. Because during COVID, you guys, I was let free from what had happened to me. Some people die because that's just the way it's supposed to be. And I was able to leave a position that I'd been in since 2019, folks. And that's a long time, and my children were in it too. And so I would just like to say thank you, and I will not let you down. But thank you guys for taking the time. And dang, if you guys just didn't, you worked with me, and that's surfing the waves of life. You guys, Finding Nemo is, I mean, Matthew McCartney kind of said it. The turtle, just surf the wave of life, dude. You'll get there. Right? It snapped. I was like, yeah, that's all you can do. And so thank you.
Thank you. Let me welcome Cyrus to the room. Who else do I see? I saw Cyrus, no, Dr. Marcia. I see Sam Hall as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I love the comments. I think it's Denise. I've sent your profile to Denise, Michelle. She wants to know what's your surname. She asked. So that's not your approach. So hopefully you two will connect. And I say, I think it's Denise again. This and be willing to be vulnerable and choose to fail upwards. It's true. We can't. We can't always be right. But
Yeah.
let's carry on trying to do our best. I think the words I learned and the words I try and learn is try and be the best version of you. That's what I try and be.
And I didn't know what
The
that
nice
was.
version. It's true. That's all we can do, right? Let's hear from my amazing friend Joni. The superstar, as Michelle says she is. You are that person, Joni. Welcome,
No,
welcome.
I really hope that as a young kid, I would have been that friend of yours, Michelle, that would have we find dandelions and make wishes and just be total just outside girls. And so I would have I really think I would have been that friend. And Leslie, I really hope, when you got in an argument with your husband, I would have been like, girl, let's get out of the house. Let's go have a glass of wine or, you know, get our nails done or something. And so I really do think empathy was always part of me. It just took some traumatic situations for me to find my voice. And just like Annie, I was scared to speak out loud. And so, Annie, as well, I could have been your friend in speech class, or I don't know what they called it. I just like had a marshmallow in my hand, and we could have squished it together and our hands together and just been like, we're going to do this. We're going to get in front of the whole crowd. So scary. Because, yeah, being in front of people is scary. And that especially compiled with trauma. And so, for instance, today it's snowing a lot here in Chicago. So, a light work day for me. And so, I visited my lovely, such a great friend, Margaret's room, and shared some stuff with her crowd. And it still makes me scared to say things out loud that happened to me, but that's what gave me a voice. And I'm so grateful for LinkedIn to give me a voice. So when you were talking about what is, emotional intelligence, I think it's being able to name those emotions inside yourself. And so, like, just like internally be like, I feel happy because of this. Like, I don't even know. I have a happiness jar. And so I put little like notes in just every day to like keep it going. I'm like, I found like an extra, I don't even know what I'm trying to say here, but yeast packet to make bread tonight. It's silly. That's a ridiculous analogies. But it's naming those emotions that hold you back sometimes. And I really do think emotional intelligence comes from being able to be okay with who you are, and the motivation that comes with trying to get there, because it's hard. It's really fucking hard. And, you just kind of put one foot in front of the other and possibly say like one thing in front of a crowd of people. It's say, hey, this is my story. And then you don't feel so alone in your vision for your life. Because, gosh, how many people are on this planet right now? Like, there's a lot. There's nearing 9 billion. I think it's 8.6. But I mean, you'll find your tribe out there, but you have to put your voice out. And it's so scary. So I really do respect anyone who is not talking right now.
Mm.
It's okay to not talk. It's okay to listen. I am not the best listener. And so that's one thing I work on, and I am an emotional person. So, for instance, like in my marriage or relationships, like someone who says something disparaging to me or demeaning, I'm immediately like, boom, all right, it's on.
You're out. You're gone, right?
I have learned to tame that a little bit and process, which was a big word for me last year, processing before I expel the emotion. Because I am like such an empath. I get everyone's emotions right inside me, and I've always been the way, I hope. But yeah, it's something that I've tried to deal with. But I do think naming your emotions is a sign of emotional intelligence.
Yeah,
And
no,
yeah,
100%, 100%.
this
Like, let
is
me what.
this is a wallpaper I peeled and sticked from Temu from China, and it cost $10. So if you're thinking of living in some fancy house, I am not.
I like that. Yeah. Dr. Daryl Butler is here. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean that sincerely. See, there are people I invite to my events, and I guess I know my friends who turn up regularly. Of course, you know who you are, right? And most of you are on stage. Dr. Darrow, I always think, it's never going to turn up, but here you are. I've changed my mind. I will learn. See, I think this, as I mentioned, Dr. Butler, because I think our emotions, Joni, they are ingrained. We're emotional beings, right? And it affects all parts of our lives. It really does. And I think, one thing I learned is that the way you think brings the results you get, right? So
I mean, we're not psychopaths here, so
no, but I'm saying no.
like
It's
we're
not that
not
much. No,
like robots. We
but we
all
can, be, Jody.
have
We can be.
history.
People who kill ants.
I don't.
Right. I'm saying
Yeah,
right now, people who.
Elon Musk could be one of them.
Yes, right. He's a psycho, but I'll leave that with him. It's not my problem, right? But literally, I think
it's my problem. I live here, but
you see, we can talk ourselves into the results we don't want. So as I was inviting Dr. Darrell Butler last night, this morning, I was optimistic that he would turn up. That's what I sent the invite. I could just uncheck the box. By the way, are you with me? I'm saying let's learn to use our emotions in a positive way that helps us. Let's learn to be optimistic, be positive. Don't say that lightly. I'm saying, if I take my dog to the park, the dog will never come back when I call it. That's you manifesting the dog doesn't learn, right? Teach your dog, expect the dog to come back. And just what you want may happen. Really, I'm saying let's let I spent years thinking, oh, they're never gonna pay my invoice. They're just not. They never pay
honestly,
my. All right.
I have a good friend staying with me because he's redoing his house, and I have an extra bedroom, so he's staying with me, and he accidentally left the door open. He had a full heart attack because my dog just ran down the street early this morning, and I'm like, they just come back. Like it's not an issue. Like you just call them, and he was like, "Oh my God, I thought I lost your dogs." But I'm like, "No, like I put the work in." So
Yeah.
you got their names.
Let's not expect the worst, Jody, is the point right now. As Mia says, Mia, you're my star commenter for today for sure. My usual star commenter, Michelle B and Michelle Ramos, are on stage, so they can't. It's hard to type at the same time, right? I'll send you Joni's last name. Joni has a funny last name. I'll send you her profile. You see what I
It's
mean, right?
Hargrave. It's my maiden
No,
name.
but you got
Graves,
Joni in the
right?
middle. You got that brackets, and then
Well, no, I'm
everyone
Joan
gets it.
Elizabeth Hargrave by birth, but
Okay.
Hargrave. I got rid of my ex's last name. It took 9 years, honey. All right, so give me some credit.
It's fine.
Hargrave is my last name,
I
but
am
it
just trying
is
to explain to this poor lady, to Jackie, or to
Grave.
Denise, why your name is hard to find. Because they'll
Oh,
try and
because
find you, and they
I
can't find you.
put Joe because I have so many friends who can't, like, around the world who Joni, they don't understand A after an O in English makes it a long O sound. So yeah, I also go by Joe. So, but I will put my link. I'll put my link.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's a Joni Hargrave. You
I
can look up
found you. You're there. Right. You're there. It's fine.
What does Maya say? This was it?
Okay, I'll come back to that in a second. So I'll put that up on screen again. So Maya mentioned about trauma and that they put now the role of trauma. I think that Dr. Leslie Strauss started talking about. Because of the trauma, people don't know what they want, and that's a part of our dysregulation. I think that's again that's that's the truth, right? When I talk about self-awareness, I think it's at that stage of understanding, why do I feel this way? Dr. Leslie has mentioned, sometimes it's based on our past behavior, past experiences. Sometimes, as you say, Joe, it's based on trauma. It's based on things that people did to us that then ends up triggering us and making us fearful of situations. And when someone starts shouting, as Dr. Leslie mentioned, it creates a reaction. Suddenly you have feelings that, you go from 0 to 100. I know what's going to happen in this situation. This always ends badly. What do I start shouting? Are you with me? I got some. Now you mentioned as well, Michelle. You go into fight or flight mode.
Yeah, no, I wasn't understanding the question, and that's what I wanted to break the barrier between is we all have different languages I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have felt so bad for just disconnecting from someone because I thought it meant something else. And I was just like, oh, you're rude, but I that's what I'm just trying to do is just bridge the gap and understand what she meant. 'Cause I know what I want to do. But when I'm in fight or flight mode, no, right at that moment, I don't know what to do, but I didn't know if they meant, do you know what you want to do with the rest of your life? And it's kind of like, well, yeah, I got here. I mean, I know what I want to do, but when I'm in fight or flight, you are right. I usually want to stay there, and I don't like fighting. I like to show my point of view, though, and
Yeah.
I cannot name one person in this world that's ever let me do that, except one teacher. And then one judge, and that federal judge will tell you to this day, you made me believe in humanity again, Michelle. And it was because he took out 5 minutes of his time. He was like, you know what you're talking about, and you know what you want to do. It's just people won't let you get it out. And I just want to tell people, and I want to bridge that gap and not assume with other people, and people not assume about me. And I think that's going to bring our world together right there. And that's love and unity. It's not assuming that someone feels that way. And I love you all. And I'm glad for you saying that, Maya. And if that's not what you meant, that's cool. I just needed to clarify myself to know if what I did want or not, or I was actually questioning myself. And I do know what I want, but the flight and fight is okay. Yeah. We're not doing that again.
Hey,
No.
Michelle, high five. Hey, girl, high five.
I don't know.
Honestly,
No,
away from I know we're not together, but high five. Because you know what? This is such a good thing, but sometimes having a real physical touch is a really good thing too. So giving a hug. So virtual hug to everyone out there.
Yes, I think that's the next generation. So we've gone from audio to video. What's next? I think it's going to be.
We're just going to be wearing our little Oculus,
close to VR. If not, there will be a scratch and sniff technology.
Oh boy. I don't know. I feel like that could go a really weird way. Okay.
Yeah, that could go really weird.
I'm going to zip it up right there.
I don't know what's coming next. I do wonder. But Joe, looking at you make some very good points, which I think we need to learn from, right? I think when you say we need to name the emotion that we're feeling, that's crucial. That's a big part of self-awareness. What are you feeling? Why are you feeling it? How often do you feel it? Why? When do you feel it? That's just part of being clear, and I think your way of doing your emotion, your happy feelings into a jar, for example. I think that's golden, right? We need to learn to write down our emotions, and because the simple reason I say that is that we might see patterns if we never write them down. And so I feel this in this situation, in these circumstances. You write what the circumstances is for you, and you describe your emotions the way you want to, right? But ultimately, you need to at least name it and then have it on paper. Then you can look at it and say, is there a pattern to how I respond? Is
Any,
there?
any,
Yes, please.
excuse me, can I please add to this? It's so
Of
brilliant.
course, of course.
So this process you're talking about, so because there's 6 basic emotions, or the spheres, excuse me, which each one has its own emotion. So you can imagine that you're the chairman or the CEO, and these are all your board members. So you've got the person who is, critical Connie. You can't get up and speak to people. You're already messing up. That's the fear of criticism. And then you can have, we just don't have enough money. So it could be money grubbing George. And so you go around the room. The next one is, let's see, it's fear of criticism, poverty. That's where these we get triggered when it's a money thing, right? That's one of those emotions that you were talking about. Then there's the fear of loss of love someone, or breaking up, right? It could be, well, you never can keep anybody anyway, right? That kind of a thing. So you name each one of those, and they're sitting around your boardroom table. So whenever you get an idea, something you want, right, they're going to be the first ones to advise you. The whole idea here is to replace them, all of them. And we can do that by doing those things that fly in the face of those fears, disprove those fears once and for all. But that's one of the characterizations. So what you're pointing to is identifying, giving those board members a name, right? And none of your business, Nancy, or you're doing it wrong, whatever it is. But it's the 6 different reactive emotions you'll have is the fear of criticism or judgment. It'll be the fear of poverty, the fear of illness, the fear of loss of a loved one, like they'll break up with me, or someone dies, or there's a divorce. Then old age and death. Each one of those has their own individual, for each one of us, sort of vibration, cellular vibration, and that's the reaction. But that is a brilliant way to distinguish what the heck is going on in our mind. Thank you for allowing me to interrupt.
Thank you. Of course. Now, the question that I want to leave here with, and I'm always wanting to say, what's the first step one can take? And that first step is begin to write down your emotions. Whether you're going to put it in a jar or in a journal, write it down. And then you say, and as Dr. Leslie and I are saying, you begin to see and be able to talk to these emotions.
Patterns.
If emotion is not helping you, then you
Could
can
be a
begin to
good
make a
book.
choice. Yeah,
You
I'll
want
do
my
less.
365 days of fun things that Joni did?
Mm.
It
You
could
see, you
happen.
see, you see, but so we're not joking. But the truth is, we are wired. We have a tendency, a propensity to go with the negative and stick with the negative emotions. It always goes wrong for me. So I don't, you with me? Then suddenly we're going to fear. That's Dr. Leslie said it all the way along. We're suddenly going to fear mode. And then we don't help ourselves with that, because that just brings on the results we don't want. So we need to learn to catch those negative emotions and face them up and literally say,
And
no,
it's
I'm not going to
also
prove that.
okay to still be in that stage. It's
Yeah,
okay.
only for a bit, Joni, only for a bit, very slight moment. Look on the thing, on the reality that we are what we think about. If you keep dwelling on the negative things will keep happening. So we need to be able to
Yeah.
catch ourselves and move on very as quick as we can, right? Truly, So of course, I said, and also I would say about about your shared journey is, I think when I was younger, when I was in my last role, for example, I didn't want to change. So, your point about it's okay. This is what I'm saying. It's okay if it's helping you. But I think some people they will hide behind their emotions. They'll hide behind the triggers. They'll hide behind the fears. But I think we have to be ready to change, to face up to our fears and be a better version of us, to make the change that we're talking about, to actually begin to tackle how we react and begin to think about how we'll respond better instead. So I think, again, and there's many leaders who are emotionally bankrupt, emotional disasters. They can't,
Yeah, because they don't ever have really the time to even dive into themselves, and they're a little over processing just this one thing. And I really do think, at least for me, I consist of so many different emotions, outlets, interests, and so it's all like a big jigsaw puzzle that fits together. And sometimes there's pieces missing, and oh well, okay.
Yeah, look, it's true. Mr. Aaron Gibson, Mr. Soulman Life himself, Mr. Ultimate Video Maker. I'm so glad you're here. I mentioned Cyrus earlier. I'm sure I did. I hope I did.
Where did
So
Cyrus is
welcome.
really late where he is. It's very late.
Yeah, no, it's late here. No, it's not as late as it could be. It could be, right? It's 11 something. That's fine. That's the time of my show, right? What can I say?
All right, let Michelle speak. Take me off. I'm fine.
I will. No. But thank you very much for your shares. I think we can we'll start the journey somewhere, Michelle. And say if anyone starts the journey today to be more emotionally balanced, to be more.
Oh, I thought you said everyone could start with Joni.
No, what if I start? We can all be more Joni. Really.
I can be everyone's friend. I promise. I am a really good friend.
Go in the comments, my friends, and do connect for sure, right? So we are gems with multiple faces. We really are. We really are. I think the thing is to begin to tease out what is helping us, what's hindering us, and the things that hinder us. You'd be amazed if you actually start journaling, like we're saying, writing down your emotions. You will realize there's patterns to our behavior. I'll take that for sure, Joni. I'll leave that for now, right? Thank you so much for being here. And so, Michelle, old Michelle Ramos, how are you doing? Yeah.
Good.
How are you? Have you gone back to sleep, or you haven't gone back to sleep?
Oh my God, I definitely fell asleep before this. I've been burning the candle at both ends though, so
what good is that doing you, Michelle?
I mean, it's actually making a lot of progress.
Okay, all right. So you rock on, carry on doing it. Then. It's like the emotions thing, right? If an emotion is helping you, don't let me tell you it's wrong for you. I'm saying I can't say that, right? If it's helping you, you crack on. If it's not helping you, take that, stop and breathe and think, what do I want to tackle this? And then you can begin to make your intentional choices.
Yeah,
that's what life is, right?
I want to just say before you start though, Joni, that whole look over your shoulder and that point, girl, I love it. That's my kid too. That point, I love that.
You're back. You're back.
1 minute. 1 more minute.
Right.
One. Get back there and do your homework.
I love it.
You're too funny. You're too funny, right? I suddenly realized your background suddenly got busier, Michelle. It's got busier and busier. There's more things, I think.
So when you see these cards, right?
Yes.
Those are just personal messages to me.
Mm.
So like when I'm sitting here, if I'm lost in thought or I'm writing or just anything, if I feel stuck, I'll like look over, I can read it. Like, so this one says, don't wish it was easier, wish for the strength to try harder. Don't wish for less problems, master new skills and teach others. Never run from your problems, seek the courage and humility required to achieve the wisdom in the lesson.
Look, I'm a great believer in writing your positive messages, around, around you. So I've got, I got my notes. The most important one is love myself. I love myself.
Yes, and I'm
I'm a
surrounded
doer,
by it.
and it
And
carries
then
on.
Adrian is artwork. So, like, these are different pieces that
Mm.
after the fire, some different family members felt bad. We had lost everything. So, those were just like art pieces that I hadn't kept for myself. We gave away. But when I had lost all of our, those types of mementos, so these were a couple pieces I was able to get back from extended people, after the fire.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, and I know people don't know Michelle changes this office of hers every other day. I'm like, stop changing that stuff.
Not just the office. It's a lot.
Yes, it's fine. April, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So we're talking about emotional intelligence, how to learn to manage your emotions. So that's how I've got several topics, April and Aaron, and those who join us late, right? It is a case of managing our emotions is a big topic. Yeah, but I don't want to do it a disservice and try and rush through it in one session. Otherwise, we might be here till 3 in the morning, another 3 hours, in other words. Let's not do that. All right. So what we're going to do is break it down. Today, we're going to talk about how to be more self-aware, and then in 2 weeks' time, we'll talk about how to manage your emotions, and so we go for the other 5 components, right? So that's 10 weeks. Now, if any can count 5 weeks, right? 5 by 2. Yes, I know that. Right, Michelle. And I'll give you a juicy one because I know this is one that you like to talk about. This is one that's going to excite you or make you talk to me, right? You see, emotional intelligence, or okay, learning who we are, learning to catch up, to understand our emotions, can help us to avoid biases and prejudice. People don't realize that their biases and prejudice is linked to their emotions, their automatic processes of people and situations. What's your take? I didn't tell her this in advance, by the way. I didn't tell her I was going to ask her the question. She's the one on stage right now, and this question is on my mind. So let's talk.
I can only really speak for myself, and what I could say is that my upbringing was so how you're raised as a child is what you're exposed to. I think it's like, man, by the time you're like 10 years old, it's something like 1 billion or 10 billion choices have already been made for you, from doctors to teachers, parents, siblings, neighbors, So I, because of medical traumas, always was told what was happening, what to do, what to go through. And I never learned for myself that what I had been exposed to was actually toxic and dysfunctional until my mid and late 30s. And it was, you're only gonna accept what you tolerate, what you accept, and you project what you know, if that makes sense. And you have to be fully aware with who you are. Like, for me, the biggest problem, 10, 15 years ago would have been getting into disagreements with family members and these verbal arguments and confrontations that were erupting because everybody's pointing the finger at everybody. And it was finally when I sat back and I said, okay, these fights, they keep being the same thing. So what can I do differently? Because they got to stop. So over the years, everything of the constructive criticism that would be repeatedly just thrown at me were the areas of life that I started working on as myself. Because then what happened over time was, as these arguments would happen, they had less things to weaponize against me with my vulnerabilities, because I was improving, I was becoming accountable, I was brutally honest, even if it hurt their truths, and they never did no self-work themselves. So what I learned in the retrospect of it is that, in the reality, is that your security and your authenticity and your belief in yourself, ultimately 9 times out of 10, you are bringing out the other person's insecurities. It's not necessarily something with you directly. It might be something you're doing that's igniting something insignificant within themselves.
Yeah, for sure. It's it's true. So we do project, and also, I guess, we are the victims of people's negative emotions and maybe their trauma as well, which leads them to treat us certain ways and to have biases that will have us freaked out and have us looking around and thinking, what the hell? Where did that come from? Even though, and again, I think it's just the insidious nature that our emotions affect us. I think I'm trying to get us to understand. Almost on every level. We need to truly look at our emotions, our feelings. What do I feel? Why do I feel that way?
We're raised in a society to believe that it's bad, everything's bad. Anger is bad. Sadness is bad. Like, so one thing that I didn't truly learn emotional regulation until like mid-30s to recently, and you're always learning it because emotions never create the same feeling. But the one thing that I think I'm doing that's been the most significant is ever since ever, like my daughter's been in therapy since 2.5, 3 years old. We have been structured and effectively teaching her emotional regulation since then, like to understand and to be able to process and sit with her feelings, and not create that adolescent mindset that crying is bad or getting angry is not okay. Like, I don't ever want her to think those things.
Yeah, no, being soft is a bad thing. No, it's not. The fact that we're nice, we choose to be nice, does not mean others can take advantage of us, for sure.
Correct.
So I think it's a myriad of things, and I guess from what you just said, I want to emphasize the fact that the way we react, the way we respond, is what our kids learn.
For sure.
We have, so it's not just, it's so learning to manage our emotions is more important than just us. It's how it affects other people. It's how it affects our kids. It's how it affects our lives. Everything comes down to our emotions. Everything. The friends we make.
It's when like everybody tells me how I'm resilient and I'm this, and for me
included,
it touches my heart, because it's like here in these walls, in the late hours when I'm feeling defeated and I'm in the shower crying, or the phone calls come that even though I made 10 steps forward, I'm falling 5 back. Those are the moments of resilience that break me, that my child experiences every single moment of it. What am I teaching her if I let her see all this stuff defeat us? What am I teaching her if I got to look back for the last 2 years and say, okay, I quit, I give up?
Can't do that. Can't do that.
We
could, of course we can, but no.
You can, but I'm setting the tone.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. And again, when we learn who we are, why we do what we do, how what we do in the first place, the emotions we actually do feel, then we can begin to be more intentional. It's like I say, it affects every area of our life. This is why when I read the book, I was like, this is important. And look, it's not rocket science. It's I remember when I used to literally, a few years ago, before I learned my mindset, really, I would sit in my office, do my work, stress out because it's not working, because I'm doing many of the things I mentioned today. I had negative I had fears. I had negative expectations. I expected everything to go wrong. I expected customers not to pay. I expected work to go wrong. No results for my clients. So ultimately, then suddenly I would have to go downstairs, and the family's downstairs, the wife, the kids, the pets. And I was always amazed how it was always an argument. Always. I would always come back more angry than when I went downstairs.
Like a repetition.
Yeah, see, this is it. This is that vicious cycle. I think, negative emotions, negative behavior, negative results. Dr. Leslie will tell you straight up. This is how it works. Negative results, and then you do it all over again and again and again until you break that cycle. Nothing changes. Let me welcome Audra. Audra, I see you on my LinkedIn, even though you show us LinkedIn user here. Thank you so much. No, it's a big topic. It really is. I see America's Supermom is here as well.
I haven't seen Lachelle forever.
Lachelle's too big for this, for these live streams. Lachelle, we need to talk. We need to talk. We need to talk. I'll DM you. Say, well, no, we need to talk properly. So I'll come back to you for sure a bit later. I'm glad you're here, though. Thank you so much for being here. Look, my friends, we need to tackle these emotions. And, Michelle, I love how you paint a picture. It is important.
I think the important thing for me is that I try very, very, like something, if I get out of character, anybody that truly knows me, they understand like something provoked it. Like I extend grace. I try to be respectful. I do my best because I remember being that inner child screaming to be heard. And it wasn't to be heard. I'm screaming because I just wanted to be understood. So I go out of my way to try to always understand anybody. And I think that you can't get what you don't give, and you don't know better until once you know better, then you can do better. And
I agree 100%.
Yeah, you have to you're never going to change who you was yesterday or what happened or the mistakes made. But if today I say, okay, yeah, I did that shit yesterday, but that isn't who I am today, that's not my fault if somebody can't let that go.
Yeah, no, this is the self-awareness bit again. You can't be anything. You can't manage your emotions if you don't understand. If you don't ask yourself, who am I? Why am I behaving like this? Why do I feel like this?
Once I'm wavering, it's second nature.
Yeah, automatic pilot of reacting, which more often than not causes us more harm than good. That for sure. Now we need to realize that, there are things. I've said that at the beginning. I'll come back to this point. I think I've learned that there's things that I can control, things in my circle of influence. There are things that I can't control. There may be around me in my circle of interest. I'll tell you one, Michelle. Now, one that this freaks me out very often. People will come to me, and we all get it every day, right? Michael, you're probably the worst at it. I wish you were here to talk to me about it. Michael sends me posts. Look at this. It doesn't even say look at this. He just sends me random post after post. It might put this commentary, right? I'm just like, yeah. Thanks. That's what I say. I don't look at it. I don't read it. I don't watch it because I don't want my life wasted away, right? So those things are not in my circle of influence. I'm not even interested in any of them. I'm very clear. Clickbait is not my thing. I can't afford to do clickbait, right? I just don't do it.
Platforms. That's why I've created the methodologies and techniques I use on my platforms. I don't want a feed to scroll. I don't want that's not what I'm there for. Unless you send me a post directly, I'll never see it. I have the way people at timeline feed. That does not exist on my social media platform.
I've never scrolled. I don't scroll. Maybe not never.
So you don't scroll. I don't have a feed to scroll.
Really? I can't scroll. It's such a mind-numbing game. Again, you might think, what's that got to do with your emotions? No, I was in a room yesterday, and I think Paulette was explaining that it's the whole scrolling thing. It's an emotion thing. It's a dopamine hit. It's a joy we feel from that people feel from scrolling. I'm like,
And you're
but,
targeted using
but
the
you're
data
doomed when you do
collection.
it.
The data
Yeah,
collection points actually allow them to target you with what to put in your
yeah.
feed to know what will keep you scrolling.
Right. So no, let's learn to avoid things or let go of things that don't help us, things that don't really interest us, things that don't, they're not aligned with what we're trying to do. They don't help us achieve our goal. Don't make us truly happy. They don't. We might think they might do for a moment. Let's learn to avoid those things, right? Saying no is a good thing. Saying no, I'm not doing it.
It's
I'm not
healthy.
interested. I can't help. I know it doesn't help me. I'm not doing it, right?
It's a
You know,
healthy. It's
yes.
healthy.
You see, I think when we do the no thing, when we learn to say no, we then learn and make space for saying yes with intention. The things that we do say yes to, like you said, the post that someone does send you, you make a choice to look at it and engage with them because you choose. Because you choose to see it as part of your thing, part of something that's important to you. You make it important, and it's my point, right? Now you make it matter rather than it mattering to you. You make it matter to you, and then you respond the way you want to respond, right?
It's
That
like,
that's
if it matters, it would be like asking something and, going to India and saying, well, does it matter? What if it matters to you and it don't matter to me? Am I supposed to all of a sudden say, okay, this is significance in my life? It didn't matter 5 minutes before, and it sure the hell shouldn't matter now.
it's not going to matter in 5 minutes time either. And when you're in your deathbed, it's not going to matter to you. It's
Right.
just not. So
And
it
it's
doesn't
like,
matter. Don't do it. Let it
so
go.
much time and obsession gets lost in these moments that all these opportunities passing you by, you don't even realize.
It's true. It's true. I think Sam, I can't see your free health assessment here. I can't see it on here. It might show up in a minute. No, someone did say there was a lag. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to find something. I saw a comment. Time is precious. Yes, for sure. Now, there's one thing that we have to learn to protect at all costs. At all costs. I said, think of how, I'd say, as Michelle and I are talking about, think of how many times and how long you spend on that fear of missing out.
FOMO.
Yeah, that's it's unnecessary. We'll never miss out. That
See, and
post you
for
don't
me, it's
see.
like I don't get FOMO because it's
Mm,
like if I want to do it, I'm going to do it.
yes.
So for me, FOMO was like almost 15 years ago, being 475 pounds. Like, I'm never going to go get to skydive. I'm too fat. That for me was FOMO. Now, for me, I'm like, if I want to do something, why the fuck am I going to sit here and regret? I'm going to go do what makes me feel free and what is liberating.
Yes, yeah, truly. Again, we never miss out. Again, if you have a positive mindset and you focus on what's important to you, the things that you naturally would have come to you. Chasing things that are not ours. Look, no, again, I think it's the same feel as someone saying, "Oh, I care," like you just said, I care about this. Is really annoying me. This is really upset me. This is terrible. And it's like, deal with it. It's not my problem. Deal with it.
But
You do
that's what I'm
you.
saying.
It's
Like
not my
5 minutes
problem.
ago,
Right.
that wasn't a part of
It's
my
not
life. What
important.
do you want me to do about that? Like,
Look, this
and
is
you
all
can't
part of
help somebody who
self-awareness.
don't want to help themselves. It will mentally burn you,
Mm, mm,
emotionally burn you, financially burn you,
mm,
spiritually burn you. You got it. Don't matter if they're family or not. You got to be like, listen, enough is enough, and draw the line.
mm.
Put
Yeah,
the hard boundaries,
yeah.
because somebody will be quicker to kill you internally while they're
Mm,
trying to keep themselves from drowning, not even caring what
yes.
they're doing to you.
That's a good way of putting it. Totally. I see now Sam has put his link for his free health assessment, in the comments. So do go along, my friends, and take the assessment. And I've done the assessment myself. And so it's a few simple questions, and then you get a report automatically. That gives you some sort of rundown on where you might be able to improve your health, and some health products that could be useful. There's no forcing. It's just it's information. You can take it or leave it, right? So Sam, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for joining us. Also, thanks for always sharing as well. It's a free assessment, by the way. So, look. Every day, I'm very wary, Michelle, to leave people's baggage with them. If it's not my problem, no.
I'm about to say, why are you literally leave their baggage with them?
Right, it's not my problem.
Shit, I
It's
probably
nothing
got
wrong
a
with
carry
me.
on you could carry for me.
I don't want to carry anyone's baggage. But I think that I used to. I think we all used to, right?
I used to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders until I had to learn that while I'm breaking my back, they just kept adding boulders.
Yeah,
Nobody was helping to try to relieve it.
I think even worse that they're chilling or they're enjoying themselves. Whilst do you want me to give my time, my mental effort to your concern? No.
Think of being super hot and sitting next to an in-ground pool and watching the people walk bucket by bucket to dump it in, and you're just sitting there waiting to go jump in the moment it's full.
Yeah, that's terrible, right? That is terrible. Look, my friends, look, folks, look. Always take the time to remember your core values, right? Be very clear. Maybe say Joni mentioned doing the happiness jar, and I think journaling is another way where you can begin to think and to realize what you feel, why you feel them.
And journaling isn't Dear Diary.
Yeah,
writing these things. This is part of my journaling process.
Yeah, for sure.
Journaling isn't Dear Diary, today he looked at me. It's I think some people don't realize the benefit of truly self-expression and the amount of healing you can begin just by being. If you can't be honest with yourself in the privacy of yourself on paper, that's your issue.
Yeah. Well, no, that's our limitation. I said area for growth, potentially, Michelle. Right? I think we need to truly, we need to I think it's about asking ourselves: is that even important to me? Now, do I give a shit? Is a question I ask myself.
Does the world still spin tomorrow?
Right. Is this important to me? And I think, like I say, the person who drives past me on the road, whatever they do, I've learned to drive a bigger car and a happier car, right? So I don't even, it doesn't faze me one little bit.
Bigger ain't even better.
It's not bigger. I've got a big car, so I'm happy with the car I drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of the car I drive, people say things about people like me who drive that car, right? But I'm saying, I don't care what others do. I'm going to get there safely.
For you, like what you just said, how important is it to me? Do I care? For me, that's like question number 2. Because the first question that I got to ask myself, is this any aspect of it, is it in my control? Because if you can say it's not in your control, why are you even letting it rent space to begin with?
I agree 100%. That's why I talked about just now about your circle of interest and your circle of influence.
Yes.
If it's in your circle of influence, then think about it.
Measure the importance. Yep.
Yeah. Think about how you want to respond based on what principles guide my actions. What do I really want? What's important to me? What do I stand for? These are questions we must ask ourselves before we respond to most situations. That's why I say take that 4 seconds to breathe.
Just deep and
Truly.
repeat it again and again and again if you have to.
You see, now, so I think when we do that, Michelle, we end up responding in a way that aligns with what we believe, what we really want, and that's a basis of being authentic, being our real selves.
I work really hard on not having like instantaneous triggered responses. I try I mean, it's happened, and I'm not going to say it doesn't happen or it'll never happen
Of
again.
course it does, every
But
so
I
often.
work really, really hard when I feel that internal feeling, the tightening and that anxiety. It's like, you can't respond before 30 minutes minimum. Like, take 30 minutes, go have a drink, go take the dog on a walk, go wash your face, like, go do something. But I make sure it's of a sensory level, touch, sound, something to just reflect before I respond. Because sometimes responding before reflecting, I don't necessarily, I don't regret what I say, and I'm usually damn accurate in my it's my delivery. I get more upset at how I delivered something, not what I said. Like, I could have not been so rude. I could have been more empathetic. I could have tried to be more understanding, but sometimes you don't get that moment.
Yeah, no, but you're 100% right. It's a case of that email I sent too soon, and you never want to feel that way. I say I do exactly that. If I get a message, someone has an issue, even a DM, I will think twice. I'll look at it, and I probably put it back to not unread, right? Leave it still
like,
blue.
I might not even unread it anytime soon.
Right. I'm saying that, so I leave it blue, and then I think how am I going to respond? I know how I'm going to respond. I just know, how do I respond in a way that truly works for me?
No, I'll be like, do I want to respond?
I have to respond. When you do what we do, Michelle, you have to respond. Otherwise, people think you're being rude.
We do. That's somebody's preconceived notion on whether or not they believe I'm rude.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I say it's not so much the preconceptions. I think it's me wanting to make sure I don't respond in haste. Right? I will respond. I know what I'm going to say. But I will respond in my good time. Denise, okay, I understand, Denise. Have a lovely evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Do connect with with some of our friends who are here. Go to the event page afterwards, and just and find comments that resonate with you and people that resonate with you, and do either follow them or connect with them. Thank you so much for joining us, Denise. I appreciate you. I really do. But I think that Michelle, I learned at work that quick response, the angry response,
the witty one that was so good coming out.
That wasn't. In hindsight, it's not really witty, right?
You gotta sit with it after, like, damn, why did I say that?
Yeah, that's why you take time to respond when you're ready. It's. But I think that's in all situations. We need to. Maybe I'll leave us with two things. In our quest for self-awareness, let's aim to be. I'm telling you what I do. Right, I aim to be super nice. You call it empathy. I agree. To be, lift people up. Don't aim to crush anyone with how you behave.
Blessing and a curse.
Yeah, as I said,
truly empathetic is it's good and bad, because people can weaponize it against you. It's like taking your kindness for granted, and they expect you to always be that loving, caring natured person. And then when you snap,
they're surprised. They're surprised, but then look, I don't think we should let people being disrespectful, people being taking advantage of us, people being wrong as a guide to our behavior. I think I always aim to maybe bring some joy to someone's face when they read my message, not by being funny, but just being nice. And but I try and be that nice at all times. If I'm going to talk to you here, I will be that nice.
I mean,
I'm
I
going to
feel
talk
like if
to
it's
you,
in
right?
writing, it's even more powerful and honest. It'd be like one of those tariff T moments, like bam.
For sure. Look, now let's be wary. Now, let's be careful. Not wary. Let's be careful how we respond, and let's choose to respond with intentionality. But this all starts with finding a process that works for you to understand how you feel, what you feel. Those who know that would make sense. Now, those who don't know, look, I could give you more advice now. If you think you got a problem, don't live with it by yourself. Ask your friends, ask your family, see what they say. Right?
Ask strangers.
Right. Ask now. How do I respond?
Ask
How do I
strangers.
come across?
Yes.
And you might find some information that you haven't thought of. You might find that they see you the way you see yourself, or they have some useful advice that can help you be more honest with yourself. And I think when we're more ourselves, we feel more joy. We feel more real, more fulfilled. There's no faking it till you make it, because you are that person, right? The person who does care, the person who does help, the person who is a lovely person. Again, those who some people will realize that they're wrong half the time. They behave with the worst.
I don't even think that it's wrong. Nobody's wrong.
Oh,
If somebody's behaving in a manner for that, it's for a reason. It's how they feel.
mm, mm,
I don't, and I try with Angelina to not use like right and wrong. I don't never want to tell her she's wrong for her, feeling and doing, but you can't be so unwavering with your
mm,
way that you
yeah,
are unable to be accepting of others or not dismiss somebody else's account simply
mm,
because it didn't align with what you were so unwavering in.
yeah. Okay, no, I can understand that completely. I think that this sets us up nicely for episode number 2 on emotional, on managing our emotions, emotional intelligence.
And with
Number,
that, also, not to interrupt, but with that, it ties in for me, and this is my last thing. Make sure that you're talking and having these conversations with your children when they're talking with you. Because the moment your child starts talking at you, healing that relationship and mending that damage is going to be tenfold.
for sure, for sure, for sure. Again, the way this topic ripples through our personal lives is truly it's amazing. Again, that's probably the biggest surprise I've ever had in life, when I realized it's not them, it's me, and it's how I choose to respond.
That's
It's
somewhere
how
on this wall.
right.
Up there,
It's not them.
it says problem me, solution we.
Yes, exactly. And so that's my no. And it took me a long time to learn that lesson. I'm talking about literally in my 40s to realize. So I spent all the time blaming everyone, but in deep down, it was me that was a problem and my emotions.
Yes.
So maybe the last one I'll leave you with before we go. So do come back in 2 weeks' time. Let's talk about how we regulate. Now we know. Now we know how we feel, why we feel how we feel, how we respond to when we feel something. Let's begin to work out how can we be more ourselves, respond in a way that helps us more. That's emotional self regulation of our emotions, right? Look, I think that's another big lesson I'll leave us with today, Michelle. Again, part of my childish, angry responses of the past, fearful, negative responses, negative reactions, I call it, not responses, right? I think it was because I didn't find a sense of purpose. Everything, nothing was working in my mind. I think I had to find a sense of purpose.
If you don't have a sense of purpose, what are you living for?
Yeah, you know, right. You know, again, that's such an important
Not
question.
in that, and I don't mean
That's
this
a
like
question.
negative
No, no, no,
doom and gloom. Like
no,
this
no.
is from a real life lived
Yeah.
experience of waking up every day and existing.
Yes.
What? Not living. I'm existing.
Mm.
In the flesh, I'm taking up space on this planet, not wanting to be here,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
to thriving and
Mm.
being driven by purpose. Like you literally, like, why would you want to walk this earth simply existing? And you can find there, it might be limited or far and few between, but just know there's really beacons of light out here. We care.
Mm.
We've been there. We
Mm.
are trying to give you a light. Like,
Yeah.
you have to want to exist to be thriving.
This is why I adore you, Michelle. You know, you get it, and you get it, right? And that's important. It's important to me and to my message as well, right? Cyrus, it's never too late, my friend. I see you. I'm glad you're here.
I was
You know,
just thinking
maybe,
about it today. Like, I haven't talked to Cyrus for a minute.
we're waiting for you, Cyrus. Now, Michelle, I think it's a big part of emotional intelligence is motivation. They want to act. They want to move things. They want to achieve a goal. They want
Except
to.
ain't nobody coming to
do-
save you but you.
Yes, but knowing that you have to take action to change
That's
your
yes.
to change your emotions, to change your reality. No, there's no point knowing yourself and being happier. Like you say, what's the point if you have no motivation? Where what's the point? Where are you going? So you have to have a direction that makes it that makes it.
Even if you don't have a direction, see, that's the thing. For me, that purpose, that the fire got lit. So it was
Mm,
ignited inside. But I grew up without the role models or
mm,
access to knowing what it was I needed. And
mm.
that's why I start, with Don't Raise Statistics, and the dream ultimately is hundreds of community centers across the world so that somebody don't have walk into this building.
Mm,
It don't matter what it is you're facing. It doesn't matter what is not available. We'll make it available. We will search together to find it together. You are not alone. It's
yeah.
like, so you will come to moments that you're idling, that you're
Mm,
feeling stagnant because
yeah.
you don't know what
Mm,
to do it in a positive way. And maybe like I knew the drug dealers, I knew where to get the dope, but I didn't know how to go put a budget in a spreadsheet.
mm,
Keep
mm.
looking for the right way, not the
Yeah.
quick way.
Yes. Yes. The motivation to do the right thing. See, that's one of our topics. And I think it's number 3 on our list. Next one is self-regulation. Then we're going to talk about motivation, and then we're going to talk about empathy. We're going to talk about social skills. Thank you. Look, I say thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Cyrus, I'm sorry we lost you in the end. Maybe it's at work. Maybe his internet connection is not where it should be. Right. So Mia, you're a superstar, and Dr. Darrell, I'm truly blown away by the fact you're here. I thank you, everyone. Now, truly, I'm in awe of all of you. I'm so grateful that you're here. Computer, well done. You haven't broken down yet. You haven't broken down on this live anyway. I'm learning how to make you not break down. I'm learning how we can work together to make this event happen, right? Michelle, you're a star. Of course, you're a star. Joni, no, I truly appreciate you. Michelle
I'll be a whole
B.
galaxy, bro.
What's that?
You said I'm a star. I said I'm gonna be the whole galaxy, bro.
uh, For those who are watching us later on the replay, I hope you get something out of this. Now, so if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and comment.
Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm
Don't do
streaming
Michelle.
multiple
Don't do
places.
Michelle Ramos and comment with emojis. Say something. I don't care what you say.
It don't
Interesting.
matter.
I like this. Say so. Yeah. Okay. No. It's better than nothing. I agree.
I told them, give me the middle of the finger emoji. I don't care. You still gave me an impression.
I'm old, Michelle. I don't get what the emoji says. No, but no. Say if you can say something, then thank you. No, so I will be forever grateful. Just
send any emoji sentences, and
don't do it. Engage.
I'll help him get an analysis.
Send the emoji. Make sure you put what it means. This means.
We might regret this.
I've got kids, Michelle. They send emojis, and we're like,
we might regret asking. Listen. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Join us again in 2 weeks' time. We're going to talk about self-regulation. Thank you to all my speakers. Thank you to everyone. Look, enjoy your evening. And hopefully, go to the comments and truly engage with the comments. There's anyone you want to connect with there, they'll be in the comments, right? So follow people. So someone just joined on our YouTube. Yay! My YouTube anyway. I don't want to end the show now, Michelle.
Today.
Michelle, I want the watch hours. I want the.
No, I said I'm not streaming mine on YouTube today.
I'm saying
it's only
really?
you on YouTube. I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Oh, I'll take the 2 minutes that this person was on YouTube.
Hey, I don't get a team replay.
They might watch the whole replay, right? They might do, right? My friend, enjoy. Take care, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drama. She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum.